Tiffany Haddish, and I'm hosting SNL with Taylor Swift.
Tiffany, I just wanted to say I'm so excited that we're doing SNL
Well, listen, I just want to know, are any of those new songs about me?
Well, no.
What, can we pretend that they are?
Absolutely.
Hey, I made it on an album, y'all, hey!
Taylor Swift has always been the architect of her own evolution, from Nashville sweetheart to global pop monarch, from cardigan ballads to stadium thunder. But when The Life of a Showgirl dropped, something cracked in the glitter. Fans who usually defend every lyric, every outfit, every vinyl color started side-eyeing their idol. Yes, they still bought the 30-plus variants, enough to give Taylor her biggest debut ever, over 4 million units in a week, the largest since 1991. But then the floor gave way. Sales nosedived 91% in week 2, falling to just 345,000. And that's when the noise really started. Was Travis Kelce a bad muse? Has the internet grown tired of Happy Taylor? Did she finally run out of heartbreak to sell? Or was this her quiet revenge on an industry she already owns? So the question is, what does The Life of a Showgirl really reveal about fame, control, and the woman who refuses to fade? Let's unpack it. When The Life of a Showgirl dropped, it wasn't just another album. It was the culmination of every mask she's ever worn. Country darling, pop prodigy, indie storyteller, billionaire empire builder, each one layered over the last, polished, perfected, profitable. And yet, behind that flawless surface was a truth she couldn't hide anymore, that even the brightest spotlight can burn. 4 million sales in a single week.
That's... Yeah. Did you record that?
The biggest debut since 1991. That kind of success should feel euphoric. But instead, it felt anxious. Too big, too fast, too loud. Because with Taylor, every high is haunted by the question, what if this is the last one? What if this is the moment the crowd finally looks away? That's the curse of overexposure. The world doesn't let you rest, and you don't let yourself either. Every era, every aesthetic, every Easter egg is designed to keep her at the center of the conversation, and it works. But it also traps her there, because when you live to be talked about, silence becomes a threat. When your identity is built on attention, obscurity feels like death. That's what no one tells you about fame. It doesn't end when people stop watching, it ends when you start to. So Taylor keeps moving. New music, new tour, new visuals. Every era is another form of survival. And maybe that's what The Life of a Showgirl really is. Not a love letter to success, but a warning about what it takes to stay visible in a world that forgets fast. Because when your audience demands constant evolution, reinvention stops being art. It becomes armor.
Skate unset the ice inside my veins. They ripped me off like false lessons and threw me away. And all the headshots on the walls of the dance hall, the bitches who'd wish I'd hurry up and die. Good thing I like my friends canceled. I like them cooked in Gucci and in Scandal.
Taylor's brilliance is that she understands this better than anyone. She knows the crowd's loyalty is a fragile currency, and she never lets it devalue. But you can hear the cost in her voice now. That quiet tremor beneath the confidence, the exhaustion hiding behind the choreography. People see the glitter, few see the gears, the lights, the costumes, the confetti, all distractions from the one truth she's never sung outright.
It's hard to be constantly scrutinized for things that you have said. It's hard for your words to be taken out of context and then really kind of feel that you just can't defend yourself because that would open a whole other can of worms, you know? And so Sympathy as a Knife, the remix version, it was kind of about me.
That the show must go on, even when the performer can't. And that's where our story begins, with the woman who turned reinvention into a religion and now wonders what happens when there's nothing left to change. Because for Taylor Swift, the greatest fear isn't failure, It's fading. And the life of a showgirl might just be the sound of someone fighting against her own disappearance. Visibility began as a gift and hardened into a law. The camera discovered a teenager with a notebook and never left. Every win tightened the focus. Every loss did too. Attention became oxygen, then habit, then a clock that never sleeps. The industry rewards presence more than patience. So the calendar filled. Albums became eras, eras became economies, and economies demanded growth. A tour turned into a film, turned into a re-release, turned into a surprise drop. Each step closed the gap between art and itinerary.
I used to be someone who didn't relate to reputation, and now that I've been through some other things in my life, that's my favorite album. Or I used to be a like fearless girly, now I'm obsessed with Evermore. Like,
there is a rhythm to this life. Announce, tease, drop, expand. Let the mystery puff like smoke, then replace it with a harder shape. No gaps, no dead air. A world trained to scroll punishes stillness like a sin. For years, the strategy looked like bravery. A woman claiming power the business refused to share. Owning masters, rerouting distribution, removing gatekeepers one by one. The moves felt defiant, almost romantic. But power carries a quiet requirement. Never let the room forget who leads it. That requirement breeds vigilance. Vigilance breeds ritual. Ritual breeds repetition. And repetition, if left unchecked, begins to sound like fear humming under the melody. Consider the small decisions. Another edit because the last one wasn't perfect. Another version because the audience might miss the point. Another reveal because the oxygen of headlines evaporates in minutes.
You know, actually, he doesn't have a home, and then my eyes turned into hearts.
Yes.
And Steven. I think is your favorite princess.
You. Yeah, you.
Tiny choices with one conclusion. Stay seen. The audience adjusts. Surprise becomes standard. Standard becomes expectation. Expectation becomes debt. The artist starts paying interest on a promise never made aloud. Fame doesn't merely enlarge a person, it crowds her. Every silence invites speculation. Every blink opens a rumor. Even the private mind becomes a workplace, drafting answers to questions no one should have to answer. Some stars vanish to reset. This one multiplied instead. If absence is risky, omnipresence is safer. If doubt grows in shadows, flood the room with light. But light is hot, and heat, over time, warps the edges of anything left too close to it. A voice learns to project past the burn. A face learns the angles that suggest ease when the jaw is tight. Staying seen is not simply staying visible, it is staying legible, keeping the story tidy enough to market, messy enough to feel human.
Taylor's entrance, stand by.
Mahati's right here.
A tightrope between myth and daylight. The life of a showgirl stands at the center of that rope. A diary written with a billboard pen. The message is simple and heavy. The world will not let go, and neither will the subject. Not yet. Not while the machine is still warm. Not while the mirror still answers back. The variants arrived like a kaleidoscope spun too fast to follow. 30-something faces of the same body. Marble swirls, glitter oranges. perfume names that sound like memories in costume. Each sleeve a beacon, each insert a key. What looks like novelty is really architecture. Colors map to tribes, retailers map to regions, windows map to urgency. Fear of missing out transforms into the gentlest command. Don't miss this one. The economy of devotion is behavioral, not accidental. Completionists collect, archivists stockpile. Newcomers choose the one copy that looks like forever. All roads lead to a first-week cliff stacked taller than the skyline. A variant can be a love letter. It can also be a decoy. When the conversation tilts toward packaging, the song retreats a step. Not because it's weak, but because it doesn't shout as loudly as foil and emboss. There is a darker thread running beneath the pigment. Manufacture requires matter. Matter leaves a wake. The eco-argument flickers at the edges of Stan Joy. Fans hold their joy in one palm and a small, guilty question in the other. The question never fully resolves. The joy doesn't either. The names do some of the lifting. Flirty, haunted, cinematic. A shelf becomes a diary. A collection becomes proof of belonging. Membership dues paid in vinyl weight. This is not greed dressed as glitter. It is control with impeccable manners. A guarantee that narrative bends toward the intended result.
I'm gonna crawl in reverse. Cool. I'm not trying to brag, but I am amazing at backwards crawling. Look at that. And I've established that I need to take the jacket off before I crawl across the floor, because this crawling is giving blue bear. Like that's an animal.
Dominance rendered in polycarbonate and ink. The metric smiles, the discourse groans, both keep the lights on. But something subtle shifts over time. Scarcity loses its edge when it is constant. Urgency numbs when it repeats. A miracle performed weekly turns into a ritual that stops feeling holy. The variant empire is not a villain. It is a mirror of the present tense. An era where objects must speak because attention fractures in silence. An era where the sleeve is the door to the song, and the door must be beautiful enough to open. The risk isn't financial, it's spiritual. When the room talks about packaging longer than melody, melody learns to whisper. And whispered songs can be exquisite, but whispers rarely lead a parade. Even so, the architecture holds. Records fall exactly where they were engineered to fall. Headlines crown exactly when summoned. The city builds another wing around its favorite resident. There is triumph in the design. There is fatigue in the triumph. Both can be true in the same breath. Both are printed on the same sleeve. Power entered as a friend and evolved into a costume. It fit well, too well. A woman who once needed permission became the authority issuing it. Every room adjusted, every handshake recalibrated. The song told the story in code, a paternal voice promising safety, profits, shelter from weather of the industry.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Midnight's Mayhem with me. I'm going to announce another track title from the Midnight's album. Track 11 is called Karma.
The promise carried a price stitched into the hem. Debts reveal themselves only when the light hits just right. Ownership changed everything and nothing. The pen signed differently. The hand remained the same. Autonomy brought the calm of closed doors and the anxiety of holding every key. Control is an elegant anxiety. It disguises itself as order. It prefers clean lines, rehearsed reveals, storyboards with edges that never fray. It hates the word accident and fears the word almost. The father figure becomes a mirror the subject no longer wants to face. The line between protector and warden thins. Promises of safety soften into the ritual of surveillance. Is the system guarding the art or guarding itself? Loyalty replaces oxygen at certain altitudes. Silence becomes policy. Gratitude becomes currency. An empire of favors balanced on the quiet understanding that departures are remembered. None of this cancels the music. It complicates how the music breathes. A song that once walked barefoot now checks the floor plan before crossing the room. The mafia metaphors feel theatrical until they don't. Power protects and prosecutes with the same hands.
I have such an eye on legacy when I'm making my music. I know what I made. I know I adore it. On the theme of what the Showgirl is, all of this is part of it.
The chorus can sound like a confession, even while it functions as a verdict. Legacy becomes the courtroom. Of every kind stand in the gallery. Ex-label, ex-friends, ex-sounds, ex-selves. The verdict is always the same. Claim the story first or live inside someone else's version of it. Control sharpens art until it starts sanding it. Edges gleam, then disappear. Shock drains away. Precision replaces it. What remains is immaculate and sometimes strangely distant. But distance isn't emptiness. It's armor, a way to keep the arrows bouncing while the performance continues in perfect time. The power era is not cruel. It is careful. Careful is an achievement in a world that loves to watch women trip. Careful is also a lonely room where nothing falls out of place, including the breath that wants to arrive unannounced.
Let me tell you the rush I felt when I thought of that.
Great!
It was the same feeling that I felt when I thought of "Can't you see you belong with me?"
Really?
In Father Figure, the final mask slips for a blink. The mentor's voice dissolves. The mentee speaks in it. The student becomes the architect. The architect becomes the building. And the building at last admits it creaks at night. Reinvention is a form of hope. It promises a door where a wall was yesterday. It flatters both artist and audience. There is more to find, more to give, more to be. But reinvention has a cousin with a similar face. Maintenance. Keep the tempo. Keep the silhouette. Keep the myth from shedding its gold. 1,000 small choices that preserve what already works until the new coat looks like the old one in better lighting. The life of a showgirl was teased as a vault swing. Velvet, brass, marquee bulbs, a voice winking at the crowd from behind plumes of light. What arrived was truer and tougher. The backstage hum, the checklist, the ache that never leaves the shoulders. Familiarity isn't failure. It is the cost of a language perfected in public. Hooks share bones with ancestors. Bridges reuse a favorite bend in the air. Listeners feel déjà vu and call it safety or sameness, depending on the day. Patterns announce themselves. The confessional posture, the mythologized antagonist, the revenge-turned lesson that leaves everyone applauding the survivor who already left the room. What once stunned now satisfies. What once satisfied now blends. And blending is the opposite of spectacle. The pressure to surprise becomes its own monotony. Every gasp must be louder than the last. Every pivot must wear a brighter color than the one before it. At a certain point, the pivot is the repetition. This is not a question of talent. The pen still knows where to press hardest. The ear still locates the precise frequency that stings sweet. What wobbles is the frame, the promise that each unveiling contains a new map rather than an immaculate redraw. Fatigue speaks softly. It hides in the vowel stretched too cleanly, in the chorus that lands perfectly and leaves no bruise, in the way the verse does not surprise itself.
Recognizing that and me understanding that I was being a little bit manipulated or there were kind of other agendas at play, and I'd never felt that before.
Fans sense it before critics articulate it. They argue with themselves in public. They defend, then doubt, then return the next morning with the bridge stuck in the teeth. Love learns to love the pattern while asking for a fracture. Repetition has a mercy. It keeps the door open for late bloom. A song that felt familiar at launch can grow fangs in the wild. A line dismissed in April becomes scripture by August after the right night, the right weather, the right crowd. But mercy isn't momentum. Mercy is grace extended to an artist who has given too much to be judged by first listens alone. Momentum demands a step none of the maps predict. When reinvention becomes repetition, the only move left is honesty so severe it looks like silence. A gesture smaller than commerce would advise. A song with no armor, a risk that refuses to trend. If that arrives, it will feel frightening and obvious at once. It will sound like a door opening somewhere behind the stage, and the audience, trained to cheer for glitter, will hear wood and wind and understand that the showgirl has a spine, not just a costume. Until then, the wheel turns, the mirror reflects the mirror, and the artist, the worker, the strategist, the myth, keeps composing against an expectation she invented, perfected, and now must either outgrow or let outgrow her. Taylor Swift has always been both brilliant and awkward, a perfect contradiction. That's part of her charm, but lately, the awkwardness feels heavier. The lyrics, once sharp and self-aware, now dance on the edge of self-parody. Lines like, "He opened my eyes, his love was the key that opened my thighs," felt more like memes than metaphors. And maybe that's the point. Taylor isn't dumb. She knows exactly how cringe works. Cringe is a currency now. It's what keeps you trending. But there's a deeper tension here. When you become too self-aware, you stop being authentic. Every joke starts to feel like PR. Every lyric sounds pre-cleared by a marketing team. That's not artistry, that's surveillance disguised as songwriting. And yet, even in her most awkward moments, she wins. Because in the era of irony, sincerity becomes rebellion. When everyone else hides behind distance, she stands there uncomfortably honest, and people still listen. That's her genius. Not perfection, but persistence. Every superstar needs a foil. For Taylor, it's a rotating cast. Kanye, Katy, Scooter, Olivia, Billie, Charli. But at this stage, the real rivalry isn't external. It's internal. She's competing against her own mythology, the idea of Taylor Swift. The feud with Charli XCX was never really about chart positions. It was about control of the pop narrative. Charli made fun music, Taylor made serious pop, different audiences, same battlefield. And when Taylor released UK exclusive versions to block Brat from #1, it wasn't pettiness, it was reflex. Because when your identity is built on being unstoppable, every challenge feels like a threat. But here's the thing, the pop girls aren't her enemies anymore. Time is. She's watching her peers fade, one by one, each one a reminder that forever doesn't last as long as you think. And that's what makes the life of a showgirl so fascinating. It's not a pop record, it's a survival strategy disguised as art. Somewhere inside all the glitter and noise, Taylor said something honest. "I'm always living in fear of people turning on me." That's not arrogance. That's exposure therapy. When your entire existence depends on public approval, every scroll feels like Judgment Day. She's seen what happens to women who age in this industry. How quickly headlines go from Queen of Pop to where is she now? How fast adoration curdles into nostalgia. So she keeps performing, keeps releasing, keeps reinventing. Not because she has to, but because she doesn't know how to stop. The spotlight has become her sun. Without it, everything goes dark. And maybe that's what the life of a showgirl is really about. Not fame, but dependency. Not applause, but addiction. A woman who can't tell where the stage ends and she begins. That's why she still wins. Because even when the critics say she's lost it, she knows something they don't. Attention, even negative, is still power. The scariest part of Taylor Swift's story isn't the fame, it's what happens after. Imagine being so successful that you outlive your own mythology. Every era, every reinvention, every victory. Stacked so high, there's nowhere left to climb. You don't fall, you just hover. That's where she is now, suspended between legacy and relevance. Between being worshipped and being watched. The applause still roars, but it doesn't fill the room anymore. It echoes, and echoes have a way of sounding like ghosts. Maybe one day she'll stop performing. Maybe she'll disappear for a while, and when she does, the silence will be deafening. Not for her, but for us. Because we've built our own lives around her noise. Until then, the show goes on. The